Nobody saw you studying at midnight. Nobody saw the Saturday mornings you worked when everyone else was sleeping in. Nobody saw the years of decisions that looked like nothing from the outside, the money that went into investments instead of into the weekend, the opportunities you chose over comfort, the version of yourself you were quietly, consistently building when nobody was paying attention. And then one day, the results arrived, and people acted like it happened overnight. This is for the quiet builders, the ones nobody saw coming.
There is a specific kind of person who builds wealth in silence, not because they were secretive, not because they are hiding something, but because they learned early that announcing a plan is not the same as executing one, that talking about what you are building costs energy that should go into building it, that the people who broadcast their ambitions loudest are often the ones who need the external validation that the work itself does not yet provide. The quiet builder does not need the room to believe in them. They just need the next morning to show up. Welcome to Rich Behavior.
Building in silence is not modesty, it is strategy. When you announce a goal you have not yet achieved, you invite two things: the opinions of people who have never been where you were trying to go, and the social pressure to maintain a narrative you have not yet earned. Both are expensive. The opinions cost you focus, because now you are managing other people's relationship with your dream instead of managing your own relationship with the work. The narrative costs you honesty, because now you cannot fail quietly and adjust. You have to either succeed publicly or explain publicly. The quiet builder skips both costs. They build, they adjust, they build again. And when the results arrive, they do not need to explain the process because the process is already done.
Every overnight success has a backstory of years that nobody saw. The 5 years of reading, studying, failing, and rebuilding that happened before the breakthrough everyone calls sudden. The consistent investing that started small and looked meaningless until compound interest made it significant. The side income that started at 2,000 rands a month and took 3 years to become something real. The skill that was built across 1,000 hours of quiet, unpaid, unwitnessed practice before anyone was willing to pay for it. Those years are not glamorous. They are not shareable. They do not perform well on social media. But they are the only years that actually matter, because they are the years where the gap between you and everyone who is still waiting to start becomes permanent.
Quiet builders have 5 habits that separate them from people who talk about building. First, they protect their time differently. They treat early mornings as capital. Before the world has an agenda for their day, they have already invested in their own. Second, they separate activity from progress. They are not busy for the sake of looking busy. Every action is connected to a specific outcome they are tracking. Third, they are comfortable with being misunderstood. A cousin who thinks you are antisocial because you are not at every family event. A friend who thinks you are boring because you do not spend the way they do. Quiet builders accept the misunderstanding as a cost of the work. Fourth, they measure privately. They review their numbers, their progress, their net worth without sharing it, because the review is for them, not for the audience. Fifth, they stay in the room longer than everyone else. They do not pivot to the next thing when progress is slow. They stay, they compound, and they win by attrition in a world that cannot sit still.
Here is why the arrival of wealth always seems to shock the people around a quiet builder, because they were not watching for it, because the signals that money was being built were invisible to them. A modest car, a normal home, clothes that did not announce anything, because human beings read current status as permanent status, because most people cannot imagine that someone they know, someone who looked exactly like them 2 years ago, could be building something that radically different underneath. The shock is not a reflection of how surprising the outcome is. It is a reflection of how little attention most people pay to the quiet ones. The quiet builder was always in the room. The room just was not watching. 3 principles for protecting the silence while the work compounds. First, be generous with your time and energy toward people you love without being generous with your plans. You can show up fully in every relationship without narrating your financial strategy to everyone in it. Love loudly, build quietly. Second, find 1 or 2 people who are building too and share only with them. Not to broadcast, to be accountable. The right witness to your process makes you better. The wrong audience makes you perform instead of progress. Third, let the results speak when they arrive. You do not owe anyone an explanation of the process. The outcome is the conversation. When it arrives, it will say everything that needed to be said, and say it more clearly than any announcement ever could have.
To the person watching this who is in the quiet years right now, the years nobody sees, the years that look like nothing from the outside while everything is being built on the inside, I want you to know that the invisibility is not failure. The invisibility is the work.
Every morning you show up before the world is watching. Every decision you make that the room does not understand. Every rand that goes into the future instead of the weekend. That is not nothing. That is everything. The room did not see you coming. The room never does. Keep building. Subscribe and follow and share this with the quiet builder in your life who needs to hear it today.